Martell Holt have been heating up once again, and this time it's not just about business. It's about his personal life and the way it continues to shock fans who thought they had seen it all. The question everyone is asking right now is simple. Is Martell with another woman? Or is this just another rumor added to the long list of drama that has surrounded him ever since his split from Melody Shari? Now stay with me until the end of this video because trust me when I say, the twists and turns in this story connect to things you may not have seen coming. And by the time we get to the end, you'll see how every piece of this puzzle matters. So don't click away because it's going to be worth it. Martell has always been the kind of man who people think they can read easily because he carries himself with charm. With that quiet demeanor and with the kind of confidence that makes people think he's got everything under control. But if Love and Marriage Huntsville has taught us anything, it's that appearances can be very misleading. Time and time again, we've seen him get caught up in situations that prove he's not the man he tries to portray himself to be. From the cheating scandals that destroyed his marriage with Melody, to the way he handled Ariana Curry and their relationship, and even to the way he's tried to make things work with Shereé Whitfield from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Martell has shown us that the quiet ones can sometimes be the most unpredictable. And that's exactly what's unfolding now. The latest chatter began when people started talking about money disappearing from a joint account. And let's be honest, when money goes missing in a relationship, it's not just about finances, it's about trust, loyalty, and whether someone feels betrayed by the very person who's supposed to be their partner. The discussion quickly turned to whether taking money from a shared account could be considered cheating, stealing, or simply part of the risks of being married. People had different opinions, but what shocked fans the most was that Martell, who had already been accused of betrayal in the past, was once again being connected to sneaky behavior. Now, let's pause right here because I need you to think about this. Martell already has a reputation for stepping out and doing things behind people's backs. So when fans heard that money might have been taken without agreement, the immediate reaction was, here he goes again. But what made this even more dramatic was the way people described Martell during all this. They said he's quiet, he's sneaky, and he looks like he wouldn't even cheat. But the truth is, he has cheated. And allegedly, he has done things like taking money that made people question who he really is. That's why viewers were left shocked when it came out that he allegedly went into an account and took money. Because even those who were used to his past scandals didn't expect this particular twist. Was it more shocking than the cheating? Some people said yes, because at least with cheating, it was about his personal decisions, but with money, it crossed into a whole other level of betrayal. And here's the thing, this conversation about money isn't happening in isolation. It's happening while Martell is still in the spotlight. For his relationship with Shereé and still being talked about for the messy history he shares with both Melody and Ariana. Now, this is where it gets even more layered. And this is why you need to stick around, because we have to connect all of these dots. Melody Shari Martell's ex-wife has been thriving. She's winning awards, she's traveling, showing the world that she can rise above all the chaos Martell dragged her into during their marriage. Fans see Melody as the example of what happens when you let go of toxicity and focus on yourself. On the other hand, Ariana Curry is still known as the other woman in Martell's storyline. And despite all the time that's passed, she can't seem to shake that label because she's tied to Martell's cheating scandal forever. And then you have Shereé Whitfield, who decided to entertain Martell despite all the warnings. Fans have always questioned why Shereé would even want to deal with Martell, given his track record. But here we are, watching her name get dragged into the same cycle of rumors. This is the part of the story where people start to see a pattern. Martell doesn't just find himself in trouble once, he keeps repeating the same mistakes. And that's why fans are now wondering if the rumors about him being with another woman again might be true. They're asking, has Martell really changed? Or is this just who he is? If you've watched him on Love and Marriage Huntsville, you've seen how Marcia Scott and Letitia Scott often throw shade. Sometimes directly and sometimes indirectly about Martell's decisions. Marcia in particular has called him out before. And Letitia has also made comments that show the cast is not blind to Martell's behavior. These moments on the show make it clear that even his castmates have doubts about whether Martell is capable of growth. The other part that adds fuel to the fire is the fact that Martell tends to play the victim after being caught. Remember how he would say Melody didn't support him enough? Or how he would try to make Arione look like she was pressuring him? Fans haven't forgotten any of that. So now with this new conversation about missing money and the possibility of another woman, people are ready to believe it because Martell has already set the pattern for this kind of behavior. That's why fans are asking, is Martell really sneaky or is he just reckless? Either way, the result is the same: more chaos, more broken trust, and more headlines that keep his name out there for all the wrong reasons. But let me tell you why you need to keep watching until the end of this breakdown. This isn't just about Martell and a rumor. This is about a man who continues to be at the center of scandals that pull in multiple people. Melody is dragged back in whenever Martell does something messy, because fans always compare what he's doing now to how he treated her before. Shereé is caught up in it because she's the current woman linked to him. And her reputation as a Real Housewives star means people expect her to know better. Arione is still stuck in the story because her name will always be tied to Martell's past cheating. And even Marseille and Letitia end up part of the conversation because their interactions with Martell on the show highlight his flaws even more. Every time Martell slips, it's not just about him, it's about how everyone around him gets affected. Now imagine being a fan who has followed this show from the beginning. You've watched the marriages, the business deals, the family drama, and the betrayals. You've seen Melody turn her pain into power. You've seen Martell lose respect over and over. You've seen Marsa and Tisha fight their own battles while still throwing shade at Martell. You've seen Kimmy Scott deal with her own struggles but still find herself connected to the group drama. And yet, here we are again, with Martell making headlines for the same reasons. That's why this story matters. It's not just about one rumor. It's about a history that keeps repeating itself. So here's the big hook I want you to think about as we get deeper into this. If Martell really is with another woman, what does that mean for his relationship with Shereé? What does it mean for his image as a father, as a businessman, and as someone still tied to love and marriage? Huntsville. And most importantly, what does it mean for the way fans will continue to see him in comparison to Melody, who is out here winning and shining in ways Martell can't seem to match? These are the questions that will keep coming up, and by the end of this video, you're going to have a clearer picture of why. Martell's latest scandal is more than just gossip. It's a reflection of everything we've already seen play out before. And don't forget, Tasha K also had her say about Martell, exposing him in ways that reminded fans just how much drama follows him. Anytime a blogger or a commentator like Tasha K calls someone out, it sticks because it's not just about rumors. It's about receipts, about patterns, and about the truth that fans already suspect. When she said what she said about Martell, it added even more fire to the conversation. And it made people stop and think, wow, maybe he really hasn't changed at all. That's why Martell continues to be a headline. It's not just because of one action, but because people already believe he's capable of doing exactly what's being said about him. And trust me, we're only scratching the surface here. There's so much more to connect. And you need to stay tuned all the way until the end, because once we link Martell's latest actions to his long history, you'll see that this isn't just about one scandal. It's about a man who might never break free from the cycle he created. So stick with me because the rest of this story is going to break down exactly why Martell Holt continues to shock fans, why his name keeps coming up, and why people believe that no matter what he says, his actions tell the real story. Now here's where things really start to come together. Martell isn't just a man caught in one messy rumor. He's someone who, over the years, has built a reputation that makes every new scandal believable. That's the problem. When fans hear his name tied to cheating, lying, or even sneaky financial behavior, they don't say, no way, not Martell. Instead, they say, of course he did. And once you have that kind of reputation, it's almost impossible to shake it. Think about the last few seasons of Love and Marriage, Huntsville. We've seen Martell try to rebrand himself, whether it's through business ventures, speaking engagements, or his attempts to play the role of the doting father on camera.